Peace, how are you? Just gonna give people a chance to get in the room, and then I'm gonna get started. Okay. So I just want to talk a little bit about something that I want to share with you, something that I hope can help you to maybe see some of your actions or see some things that you may be doing that may not be helping you to conceive a baby, that may not be conducive to fertility, that may kind of be leading you in the opposite direction. Because a lot of times people don't realize their actions, habits are formed and they are habitual because people repeat them a lot of times subconsciously, not really thinking about it, just doing things out of, habits, And one of those things can be the main factor or main reason why people may be struggling with infertility, or when you may be having difficulty conceiving a baby right now, right? You may be this close, but it just may be that one thing that you're doing, that way that your mind is set up, that just won't let you get pregnant. And a few other things that just continue to contribute and amplify, infertility or so-called infertility. Because like I've said, if you have all your organs intact and you're menstruating, you are probably just imbalanced. You probably just have an imbalance. You're probably not actually infertile or anything like that, right? So one of the stories that I want to share with you today is about being ignorant to other things in life, being ignorant to change, being ignorant to information, right? So when I was in my teens, right, I used to like to party. I used to like to go out and, dance and listen to music and so forth. I would go to certain events, that weren't exactly clubs, but they were very reminiscent of them. They're, very popular. You may have heard of Caravana. There's also some that are more for, children or, teens. They're really for children, but when you go there, is it might as well just be an adults only type thing, right? So one of these things is called Kitty Caravana. So anyways, I used to go to that, and I used to go to all age clubs. So it's not just about Kitty Caravana or anything like that, but so I used to go to these all ages events. If I could get into it, I was there, right? And now let me tell you something. I used to go with no plan. I used to just get up and just go. If nothing happened that prevented me from getting there, I was going to be there. And that meant that I was probably going to be there very late. That meant that I probably didn't have a ride home. And, a lot of times when these clubs close, this is back when clubs used to close at 3 o'clock in the morning. This is when they used to close at 4 o'clock in the morning to, 2, 3, 4 o'clock in the morning. Not like as of recently where clubs are closing at 12 o'clock. But so I used to go to these parties. I used to go to these clubs, right? And I had no way of getting home. But I was certain that with my looks, right, that I was going to get a ride home. So let me tell you what happened. One time, and this was not even Caravana. I'm sorry, this was not even at a regular club. This was at an all ages type event. One time I went, right, and I had no ride home. So, I'm starting to look for my Vic. I'm starting to look for who is going to take me home tonight. And sure enough, I found somebody who was going to give me a ride to my destination. Little did I know that I was going to start falling asleep in the car, and hands were going to start rubbing all over my body. And that, I was just so tired because I'm partying and dancing all day. Of course, I'm not drinking or anything like that, but my energy had just depleted. When you are like a teenager, when you're tired. There's nothing that's going to wake you up. Right. So I was in kind of one of those stages. And the only thing that was kind of waking me up was just feeling these just creepy hands just, feeling on me. And I was really trying to stay woken up to get him off me. But when I did wake up, I was in the parking lot of a park. How can I describe it? I know not everybody has these types of parks. It was like a forest type park. And a lot of times, they're under the whole parks and recreation, or what can I say, like a national park type environment, right? So I was in a parking lot of one of these, and they're very dark. There's nobody there. They are pretty much open 24 hours, right? And this person was determined that they were going to sleep with me that night. And I had to dig deep within myself and reach out to this person and say, you know what, if I was your little sister, would you do this to me, and blah, blah. So basically, I worked. It succeeded, and I even got me a ride closer to home to another park. Well, actually across the street from one, right? And but the point I'm trying to make here is that I was doing these things because that was all I knew at the time. All I knew was that, parties were fun, clubs were fun, kitty caravan and so forth was even doper, right? The whole streets are blocked off for this. It's a big event. You wear one of your finest outfits. You do your hair. You try to look pretty, and people fill your pockets with a whole bunch of numbers, and you feel like it's like Instagram. It's Instagram live for real. It's Instagram reality. It's Instagram 360, right? So just imagine that. Now, that was probably one of the last times I went to any of these type of events, right? So the point is, though, that I wasn't receiving any new information. That was just the thing to do, right? Go to these all age parties. And man, if I had known about getting into, adult ones, I probably would have been doing that. But at the time, I kept it legit, I guess. And if somebody had pretty much probably said to me, you know what, sister, you're going to be a mother one day. You probably shouldn't be out here this time of night, taking rides from strangers. If somebody had probably said, here's a very, I noticed this skill or this talent in you. Why don't you do this, as a hobby or something, maybe dancing or something? Why don't you really take up dancing classes? You're very beautiful. Why don't you model? If somebody had came to me with some new information, I probably would have accepted the new information, right? But there's a lot of people out here that will not accept new information, right? And they're going to continue their life going through things in the same type of way. And the problem is that if you want something new and you keep doing the same thing, you're going to get the same result, right? And for me, in my situation, I had a wake-up call, right? I had a wake-up call where it's like, okay, you keep doing this, and you might get raped on one of these things, and this person might not succumb to your mental what can I call it, because I really put that mind work on him. I was like, look, you got a sister? Right? I was like, man. So it worked on him, so it might not work on everybody. So I particularly had a wake-up call, right? So there are a lot of other people out there that may not get that wake-up call, right? And what about you in your situation trying to conceive a baby, right? What are you doing that may just have you in this routine of doing things because it's what you've been doing, right? It really goes against everything you truly want as far as having a baby goes. It's not healthy. It's draining you, depleting you. It's causing stress, right? And furthering your infertility, compounding that infertility, so-called infertility I mentioned, right? You're not doing the things that that can help you to conceive, such as, eating more fruits and vegetables, getting more fresh, clean air, sunlight, meditating, de-stressing, self-care, and doing these type of things, right? And what if somebody comes to you with some new information, right? How will you take that information? If you've been thinking your whole life that, Black people are fertile, Black women are fertile, you can do whatever you feel like and have a baby when you want. You can, wait until you're, 40 to have a baby. You can put it off, because you got to get this paper, right? You got to get this money. You're not going to mess with these brothers You're going to have all these abortions and so forth. And, when you get pregnant, everything's going to work. Everything's going to be intact, because we could trust the doctor. We could trust the white man, right? He's going to help us. He's going to fix it, right? How many of you are really want to say that you really want to put your trust into the probably limited information that you have right now? Right? Probably not many. It's probably some things that you could learn. It's probably some things that you could, open yourself up to, right? And take the information to help you to better your life, right? Not to crush you, not to, destroy you. But for some of you, you may need to destroy the ego that you have. You may need to destroy the you that you think you are in order to succeed, in order to move to the next level, in order to get past your infertility, right? Because for some of you, you may be thinking, I'm this college student, I got to study until my hair fall out and get pregnant later when I get my diploma or degree or whatever. Or, I am this CEO of this company. I can't let a baby, ruin my career right now, but I definitely want to have a baby later on, and or maybe that was you, right? And now you're struggling with so-called infertility, right? And I want to say there's so much new information, even as far as it relates to fertility right now, that a lot of us are asleep on. I know I am, right? And I'm looking into this stuff, but there's so much more information that a lot of us are asleep on. Is even as simple as ovulation, and even worse than that, menstruation. A lot of women don't know jack about their menstruation. They just know either that thing coming this month or it ain't, and I need to buy these pads, and I can't wait for it to be over. Right. And, for some people, the information they received about that was that they were unclean or dirty, or the woman is, should be ashamed because of it, and so forth. And, and these are the messages that we've received about certain things like that. Right. But what if you start to tap in and start to get new information about your menstruation? You start to realize, oh, my gosh, my period is not supposed to be for 14 days every 2 weeks. I'm not supposed to be bleeding for 8 days, and then bleeding on and off thereafter. I'm not supposed to be spotting all month. I can't get pregnant every single day of the month. Like, some people really think that they can get pregnant whenever they're not menstruating. Okay. So it's a lot of old thoughts and old paradigms that a lot of us have, right? We're not receiving new information. And there are a lot of ways that you can start to receive new information. Obviously, one of them is to continue to watch my videos, subscribe to my channel, and so forth. And, but there are also definitely books that you could be reading. There are definitely articles, blogs, right? And a lot of other things that you may not know simply because you don't know, right? And a lot of that too is also because some people don't want you to know. It's a very concerted effort to push fertility to the back, push fertility, to the rear. When we're coming from fertility societies and societies that worship and revere black goddesses and fertility gods, and now here we are, and fertility is like, people barely know what that word means in some cases, right? Or when you talk about fertility, they're talking about the soil, right? The fertility of the soil, or fertility of a cow. Like, you could type it in online, and a lot of times that's what's coming up, not necessarily fertility as it relates to people, right? So I say all this to say, what type of new information are you either rejecting or could you use to help you on your fertility journey? And I really want you to think about that. I really want you to think about the information that you are not tapping into, the books that you're not reading. There are thousands of books on how to increase your fertility, right? But how many have you read on your fertility journey trying to conceive, right? And now some of you may also have read all these books and read all these articles and blogs and so forth, but how much of that are you actually putting into play? How much of that are you practicing, right? Because that's even more important, is using the information that you know, right? And doing it in a conscious way, because, we think we know some stuff right now, but we're doing a lot of the stuff you know, unconsciously, because, you know, it's turned into patterns and habits, right? But when you learn new information and you can make a conscious decision, and you're consciously living your life out, and you're saying, okay, so if I do this, this is supposed to, you know, stimulate my ovaries to release this. And, you know, when that happens, it's a good time to maybe, you know, eat this, or to, you know, meditate, or to just, you know, relax, or even to maybe even have intercourse, or whatever the case may be, right? Start thinking about how you're going to do things more consciously. How you're going to stop turning away the people that are giving you information that can help you, you know, just because they may not look like they come from the same income bracket as you, just because, you know, they might not look like you, because, you know, they may have an accent, or just not talk like you, or they're just not part of your clique or your crew. Because in a lot of cases, if that is how you are, then, you know, you really can only rely on yourself, right? And of course, some people will, you know, say it's all in God's hands and so forth. But this type of world that we're living in will show you, okay, that you have to help yourself. There's no other way around it. You really have to open yourself up to more than what you think you know, right? And that really nobody cares about you, but in a lot of cases, yourself. And if how you care about yourself is by setting up walls and blockages to information that can help you, you know, then there are a lot of other blockages going on. And some of those blockages can be manifesting as infertility, manifesting as fibroids, manifesting as things that are literally preventing you from getting pregnant. So I really hope this video and my experience can help you to see that, you know, unless you have some type of phenomenon that wakes you up, that you really have to either open up yourself to the information that people are providing for you, or you have to have an awakening yourself where you start seeking that information out yourself. So I am going to be having a workshop July 14th. I hope you all can attend this workshop. It's going to be called Breaking the Spell of Black Infertility, right? So I'm going to be having worksheets, again, helping you to figure out where your blockages may be, giving you information on how to increase your fertility naturally, right? And just basically helping you take your fertility journey to the next level, and, you know, helping you to basically live a better life, right? So with that being said, this is not only an event for people who are seeking to increase their fertility, but just basically a better quality of life, changing their life on many levels, right? But of course, I'm focused on those who are trying to increase their fertility, and this is for men and women. So I really hope that you attend. The link is in my bio. You can sign up for my newsletter and also reserve your spot for this event by going ahead and booking the tickets for the workshop. So go ahead and check that out in my bio on Instagram. And this is the end of this video. So thank you and peace.